Hey everyone, welcome back to an episode of the React Foundation series. In this episode right here, we're going to be doing a bit of a cleanup in terms of the project setup. So we've gotten this far now, and you can see here, everything's starting to look really good. Things are starting to come along. We've got the action bar here. We can create a new account and all that stuff, and everything's rendering really nicely, the animation and all that stuff. Now we have a few things we need to upgrade. So, when I started this project, it was a long time ago. And since then I've built a few React projects, and I've learned quite a lot in terms of how to do things. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to revisit an old component. We're going to upgrade some of the stuff. We have certain things if we look at the console, we'll see some warnings of prop types. We'll clean all of that up as we move along. There's certain things we need to do for MobX with the inject over here. You can see it's complaining down here. One more thing we have to do is like the webpack config needs to be fixed slightly for this loader thing to work. So basically now it's broken. So without any further ado, let's hop right in and start configuring our project. So I'm going to head over into my editor. So I'm back on Sublime because they just released, the stable version of 3. It is a lot better. It's a lot faster. So I'm back on that for now. For a little bit, I'll probably switch between VS Code and Sublime Text. All right. So let's actually go ahead and fix that loader error first. So I'm going to head over into the webpack config over here. And so what I'm going to do is on the output here, I'm going to configure the public path. It's just going to be a / like that. And that will alone fix the issue that we were having. So I'm going to close out my server, my Yarn server, my webpack dev server, and then I'm going to reboot it up. Head back into here. If I close this real quick, you'll see that it's now working. So when we click on this view button, we come to the accounts contacts page. So now we're in the context of the account. So what we need to do is we need to actually retrieve the contacts for this account. So if we take a look at the component that's responsible for that, it's right over here. It's the collection. And here's the warning that we're getting from the from MobX telling us we need to upgrade to the new syntax. So we're going to change a few things, the way we do things in the contacts collection. So let me start off by just fixing this warning here. So I'm going to do an inject contacts. And it's all going to change anyway. So I'm going to have the observer like that. So now that should work. So we don't have inject. So we need to do inject over here. All right. There we go. So now we have inject contacts and that's working. We also need to fix the linter. So as you can see now, the loader is back and it's now working. So if I click here, what I want to talk to you guys about is like now we're not going to exactly access global states anymore because we have the context of context. We have the idea of context. So for example, if I load contacts and when I go back over here and I go here, it's a different set of contacts, right? It's the contacts that belongs to each account. So what I'm going to do here is I'm no longer going to have global stores. I'm going to use component specific stores, and I'll show you guys how to do that right here in this episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm now no longer going to use this contacts from here. I'm not going to use inject anymore. So I'm going to create I'm just going to use an observer. So I'm going to remove inject. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a constructor. All right. That autocomplete was really nifty. So what is it complaining about? No trailing space. That's fine. All right. So basically in the constructor, what we're going to do is we're going to define the store that we're going to use, for our, contacts is still the contacts, but we're not going to instantiate it in the global level anymore. We're not going to do it over here anymore. So what we want to do here is now we have the account stores of account. We want to have specific endpoints. So what that means is the endpoint is going to change based on the context. So how do we do something like that? So let's take a look at our stores collection. So contacts. So this is the old contacts store. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this one anymore. I'm going to create a new one in the stores directory, and I'm going to use the new Fronto Connect to create my store. So I'm going to go into the store here. I'm going to create a new file call it contact.js. And basically, I can just copy a lot of the stuff out and paste it in here. And then now we have the scopes. Everything looks good. So we can change the resources to contacts. Namespace v1 is fine. I'll talk about namespaces a little bit later. Contact. So contact. So in terms of the scopes, it's going to be exactly the same as the one from the account, because we're going to have readable and writable. So we're not going to do much there. So that should be good to get us started. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the collection, and I'm going to do an import on the stores. So let's see how we did that in here. So we have the stores that we can import from. So basically, we now are going to not just import the stores right here in the root layer. We want to make our stores accessible across our application. So the idea is this store that we're going to generate is going to be scoped inside of this particular component. So I'm going to rename this component as well to collection. I don't know why it's called layout. I'm still confused. Yeah, so I'm going to rename this to collection as well. So, I mean, there's all these little things that, we skipped because, we were trying to understand React. But now it's time to actually, go back and clean up all this mess. So, yeah, bear with me here. So basically, before we go ahead, I want to now do an import. Import stores from stores. So essentially now this is not going to work. And, we need to do a few things as well. Like we're getting these errors from our linter. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a pause here. And what I'm going to do is in the next episode, I'm going to show you guys how to configure the linter so that it's aware of, that we're importing from within our project itself. So here we have components, pages, stores. We want to be able to import these guys, these stores inside of our components. And it needs to be aware that these are local project components that, it's not from a library. So because, it's giving us this errors because it can't resolve the dependency for these imports. So that's why we're getting these errors. So what I'm going to do in the next episode is I'm going to show you guys how to import the stores, specifically the contact store inside of here. So we can apply the account context to it. And we're going to fix this ESLint error stuff as well. Like, share, and subscribe. Click on the bell in YouTube so that you get notified when we release a new video. Also, we released a few member-specific videos last week. So if you haven't checked that out, please check that out. This video is a progression of those member-specific episodes. So with that, I want to wrap it up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.